My guest today is Vickey, a therapist, relationship expert, and speaker behind Unmess Your Mind. Vickey's work centers on helping people understand relationships more clearly, whether that's romantic partnerships, friendships, family dynamics, or the relationship we have with ourselves. She works with individuals, couples, and people navigating separation or divorce, with a strong focus on emotional safety, boundaries, communication, and long-term growth. Her approach is grounded, compassionate, and realistic, helping people recognize patterns and build healthier connections without shame or blame. Today, we're exploring what healthy love actually looks like, how relationships evolve over time, and how people move forward with clarity when something no longer fits.
Hi, Vickey, and welcome to the Call Me Obsessed podcast. I'm so excited that you were able to join me today.
I'm super excited to be here as well. And what a great name for a podcast. Like, I'm just amazed.
Oh,
Well done.
Thank you. So do you mind telling us a little bit about yourselves before we jump into it?
Sure. So my name is Vickey Easa. I'm a therapist in private practice. Solo private practice is what it's like officially called, which just means I work by myself and for myself. I don't run a group or anything. It's just me. My office is in my house, and I'm based in a little suburb called Norwood, which is right outside of Boston. I'm excited about this. A couple of years ago, I named my business Unmess Your Mind. I did officially name my business that. I find myself holding back because my husband came up with the name. So I want to give him a little bit of a shout out.
What's your husband's first name? Do you mind if I ask?
I do not mind at all. Gabriel.
Gabriel. Oh, I love that name. That's a great name.
We'd been toying around for like 2 years. So it took us a long time to come up with that.
I love it.
Thank you. And that is my hope with all my clients, is that for all of us, by the way, I think it is such a mess up there. So I'm trying to help everyone unmess it, pull things apart, kind of see what's going on. And I see adults only, individuals, and couples.
I love Vickey, it. Before we get into deeper conversations, I think it's time to start with what I call the warm up. I'm going to ask you some questions to warm this up. Are you ready?
I am ready, yes.
What is one thing that instantly makes you feel appreciated or cared for?
So I think this is going to sound redundant based on what the question said. And the answer is if someone voices appreciation. If someone voices appreciation to me, I do feel appreciated. Like a good example is if I hold the door open for someone, I love it when they say thank you. I've also found that frequently, and people are going to realize this when I say it out loud, frequently we go places that have like double doors. And it happens a lot that I will open the door for someone and they will smile and say thank you. And then they get to the next door before me because of that. And then they open it for me. And then I say thank you. And there's this like human connection where we both chuckle because of what just happened. And then we go about our day. And it's actually a really beautiful human connection. So yes, I do. It's so simple. I feel appreciated if someone just voices it to me.
I love that. And that happens all the time when I go out to eat. All the time. Like, I know exactly, because I'm in Minnesota, so we have those double doors. That was perfect. I loved it, Vickey. I loved it.
When it comes to relationships, are you more of a talk it out person or a show it through actions person?
Oh boy. Well, the funny answer is that you should ask my husband, and which is true, by the way, true and funny. I'm a talk person. Talk. And the reason I say it's funny you should ask my husband is because he's way more action based. So it just takes a little bit of work to navigate that together. And what I've found quietly that I do a lot is replay in my mind, almost like translate in my mind what his action means. He may not be saying it, but him doing that is him saying it. And then I don't have to like go back and harass him. Well, the way I used to. It's been 19 years. So I used to have to go back and try to make him say it. But I now know how to interpret his actions because I'm the talker and he's not.
And you have to make adjustments to that. When you're the talker,
yes,
he's the opposite. It goes both ways. And I love that.
What is one common belief about relationships you wish people would rethink?
One is, be it married or not, but in a relationship, just because you fell in love with me and just because you committed to me does not mean that I am now entitled to dump all of my stuff on you. And I found myself doing this a few months ago. So apparently I've probably done it for 19 years, but I caught myself a few months ago that I was frustrated about something. I let him know, and I barely scratched the surface. It's maybe the best way I could say it. He instantly went into remorse and apologized, and it was beautiful. And then my next thought in my mind was, I shouldn't have had, in my mind, I didn't say this part out loud, but it was, I shouldn't have had to work so hard to not dump everything to get that reaction. There was so much more that I'd wanted to say. And I think I did say some of that of like, this isn't fair. Like, I can't tell you everything. Like, you had the perfect reaction, but I know that if I'd said more, you would have flipped out on me. Then I went to bed, which is part of, by the way, the second point I'm going to make. Okay. And then the next day I woke up and realized, oh, no. I'm not entitled to just go on talker. So I'm not entitled to do all of that. I have to learn, by the way, as a society, we have to learn how to rein some of that in. No one should have to just listen to you drone on nonverbal vomit, whatever we're going to call it, just because they fell in love with you. So that's one, I think, like misconception out there. And the other one, like I just alluded to, is the whole either like don't walk away, stay and fight, or don't go to bed mad, all of those.
Yeah.
Not true. Like, you're fighting your own biology. We sometimes literally have to have a circuit breaker. You have to walk away and breathe separately. Kicker is, and we might come back to this later, but the kicker is to have a scheduled thing together of how you come back.
Okay.
But the whole like don't go to bed mad, like sometimes you have to go to bed mad.
Yep. You decide to go to bed angry or end a relationship for a while, cool it off. I always have that fear of what happens if you don't see that person in the morning.
Yes. Well, and so that's a trauma response. So yes, and we can get into more detail on that. When I say don't go to bed mad or take a breather, I mean like 24 hours, not like a week. And even with the couples I work with, I do sometimes forget that part. And then I have to like backtrack and go, oh, wait. But when I say you need a circuit breaker, which I do call either a timeout or a pause, I really do mean 24 hours.
24 hours. Yeah.
Like you could practically clock it. So it's not like long term. And then I do teach people how to come back together for that conversation. But we do need a circuit breaker.
Yeah, I like that term. I think that's healthy too in your mind, because you're so trained for all these years of what you've been doing, that you know in your mind that a timeout means 24 hours. I love that you stated that. You work with so many different kinds of relationships: romantic partners, friendships, families, and even people navigating separation. When you step back and look at all of it, what do healthy relationships tend to have in common, even if they're messy or imperfect?
So the first thing I want to point out is the couples coming to see me are not doing the healthy things. So what I see are the like, I mean, there's vast differences, but all the unhealthy things that are happening. And then part of what I have to do, that's a weird term for it, but part of what I'm doing is teaching them what to do to navigate through these differences. And the reason I mention it that way is kind of like a backdoor way is because I don't think that the quote unquote healthy couples out there who don't need therapy, and I do think they exist, I don't think they're doing naturally what I'm teaching my clients, because I go into like brain-based stuff and why we go into survival mode when we don't need to be in survival mode. And so healthy couples are somehow navigating things with curiosity and mutual respect, but without those same skills and tools, which is fine because it's working for them. And I praise that. But it doesn't come naturally to everybody.
I'm actually surprised it comes naturally for some people.
Me too. It really doesn't come naturally to me.
Because I think I'm a fan of therapy.
Awesome.
And I've never met anyone who maybe couldn't benefit from a session or two about something.
I agree. I absolutely agree with you. But I do know that there are couples probably that I don't know very well, because I do believe also if you know a couple well enough, then you likely know their dirt. And yes, every couple could benefit from therapy, sure. But the ones that I'm not quite close enough to, and from what I see, they seem to be muddling through it, and somehow it seems to be working for them. So awesome.
Okay.
And I guess I did answer your question too, because I alluded to very briefly, like curiosity instead of defensiveness. And even defensiveness is what I call a portion of relational survival. Relational survival mode is a better way I want to say it. If you've gone into defensiveness, some part of your subconscious detected threat, like you're in fight or flight.
Yep.
Defensiveness lives there. So if you can get into curiosity instead of defensiveness, that literally shifts things in your brain. It's a different brain state.
That makes sense to me because when I think of what's it called?
Fight, flight, or freeze. I hadn't added that one yet, but that's the full
So
thing.
when I think of that, the breathing and the meditation, the rest, it can't exist on the same platform. Like it's either flight or flight or
well done.
Or rest or what's it called? It's called
Oh, that part is called, and I learned this from one of my clients who's a doctor, rest or digest.
Yes, I just learned this last week.
It is amazing to me how much I hear from the expert therapists that I train under, and then doctors and people in other fields, how it's like therapists who train me.
Yep, I just
yeah, I saw you do. Yeah, I got it. How after a while I hear they're all saying the same thing with different language and different words, and it's because we're all working with the brain and the nervous system, and it is the same thing. So it makes sense that everyone, because I literally there's a whole model out there. It's a medical model, but therapists are using it. It's called polyvagal theory.
Okay.
It's something about the vagus nerve. I'm not trained in it yet, but I was mentioning, I thought it might help, I kid you not, one of my couples, and he's a doctor. And so I was saying to him, here's this little thing that I know about polyvagal theory. When I say all this, what do you know about the vagus nerve? And so he goes, oh, well, that makes sense because the vagus nerve is responsible for rest and digest. So maybe this is how it's related to what I'm doing right now. And so we work together to help him figure out why he goes into fight or flight and what may have happened. Because like I said, he knew the vagus nerve better than I do. But it's all the same stuff. It was very cool. Thank you for that. It was very cool. And there's a term that I've learned. I'm not going to take any credit for things that aren't mine, but there's a term called co-creating. And that's what I'm doing in the therapy space. And that's what I did with him. We co-created. I was like, here's the little bit that I should be more trained on, but you are more trained on. And how do we work this bit together to help you understand you better and what's happening in these situations with your wife? It was a couple sessions. She was sitting right there.
That is so cool.
She's also a nurse practitioner, so she knew about the medical stuff the way he did too.
And
I was the one that didn't, but it worked really well.
And I really appreciate that too, because it's like putting together a puzzle. Like when you're explaining that, I was seeing like all three of you like putting a puzzle together and putting something together that actually works for the individual.
And that's a great metaphor. Thank you for saying that. The puzzle. That's exactly what we're doing.
That is so neat. I absolutely think that's amazing. And it's really cool to hear that when I'm actually in therapy, and that hearing it from someone with your experience, it's very, very cool.
Oh, yay. Well, I want to ask your opinion first. Do you think people know what fighting fair or fighting unfair means?
I'm going to say no.
Because my husband used that term last night, and we talked about having a discussion around fighting fair, and I realized my poor husband is married to a therapist, right? I don't think he and I realize how much he knows that the general public doesn't know because he's married to me, which I actually call it, I made up a term, that he gets secondary therapy. So like he gets therapy just by being in the room with me.
Now that I know that is the thing.
Thank you. So fighting fair is, I guess, a better definition. It's more of the absence of. Fighting unfair is like name calling, rubbing salt in a wound, purposely trying to hurt. Some people would also, you could call it retaliation. Relationship is safe and emotionally supportive, even when things are not great, when those things aren't happening.
My body's reacting to this because it's so relatable to relationships in general.
I go through a whole exercise with my clients. It takes about a half hour to 45 minutes where we work on, it's called a containment boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And the containment boundary is the person creating 2 words that are very true to them. And for most people, the words are different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anyone who has my words, not like it's proprietary. But the purpose of the containment words is, can I always stay true to me and within my words, no matter what is happening on the other side of the conversation?
Mm-hmm.
So even if my husband or a friend or someone yells at me, swears at me, we get in a huge fight, can I look back 3 days later and know that I was within my words? I can't control how they're being. I can't control the other side, but I can control me. That you are working on you and you want to be true to you and still respectful of you. And it does have ripple effects.
It does. So we're going to talk about growth and connection. Relationships change, people change. From what you've seen, Vickey, what helps people grow together instead of slowly growing apart? Whether they're partners, friends, or co-parents, or any type of relationship.
Mm-hmm. I'm chuckling because I think the first and possibly most obvious answer really is time together. If you're not spending time together, you're gonna start to grow apart. And so how, not like people need me to describe it, but part of it is like, how do you get to spend time together? Prioritizing. So that's one thing. And something as simple as, I do think date nights matter. And I would want each couple to figure out like their own date night, their own rhythm. Here's what I mean though. Years ago, when I first really heard like how imperative date nights were, whatever, my kids were going to bed by, let's say, 7:30 at night, maybe 8, but 7:30-ish. And I was staying up till midnight. I mean, Gabe will stay up till 4 in the morning, but I was staying up possibly till midnight. So I'm not exaggerating when I tell you he and I got about 5 hours a night and every night. And we love to watch TV, and we watched TV together, and we watched a lot of TV together. And we were very happy. And neither of us could understand the need for date night, because I think every night we were having date night. Let's flash ahead a few years. My kids are now going to bed. They shouldn't be. They're 12 and 14. And we try to do 8:30 to 8:45, but we're lucky if we get downstairs by 9:30 because they do still lovingly want both of us to tuck them in, which I appreciate and want to keep forever. So we don't get downstairs together till 9:30. And I'm going to bed earlier, 10:15-ish. So we now get one show if we're lucky.
If you're lucky.
We went from 5 hours a night to 45 minutes.
Yeah. I was going to say it's not even an hour.
Man, do I miss him. I'm happy I miss him. It means I love him.
I love when people love their husband. I love it.
So I do. And in the past few months, I like, it hit me. I'm like, oh, this is why people need date nights. We can't watch movies together anymore. We can't do this anymore together because the kids go to bed. Like our 5 hours got so crunched down. So we do have to find more time together. So again, we could grow apart and just accept that this is the way the world is now. This is it. Or we can find other ways to find our time together.
Yes.
So that's one thing that I really want to mention. How do you not grow apart? Spend time together. That's one thing. There's also a concept that I think the easiest word is control, but I want to finagle. I want to play with that word a little bit of like, allow your partner to do things on their own.
Okay.
So don't be trying to control their timing. I mean, the way I always phrased it in our marriage really was like, I never wanted to be that wife. So like he calls, he's driving home from work and he would call and say, so-and-so called, can I go over to his house tonight? But like something as simple as that, or so-and-so called, can I go golfing on Sunday? And I never wanted to be that wife that said no.
Yep.
When the real answer might have been, I do remember the one main time it happened years ago. Something had come up on Sunday night. Then he called me at work on Monday and said, so-and-so's in town. Can I go out tonight? And I went, sure. And he said, what do I hear in your voice? And I said, well, I mean, I kind of like you. So I'm just bummed that it's 2 nights in a row. I wasn't controlling him.
The way you
And
said
here's the thing, he didn't feel controlled. And even him calling me to ask permission was not controlling either. It was like, I love my wife. I just want to check in with her. And by the way, I did say yes. And by the way, he did go. And then we spent the next night together. Like it wasn't that big of a deal. And I do think that not allowing for that stuff, like, and by the way, if I had said no that night, he would have been fine too. But if a partner does ask a lot and the answer is always no, you're gonna grow apart due to resentment. So it's not just about the time together, it's about what's the energy in the room when you are together. Is it like I'm here under handcuffs because she won't let me do anything or he won't let me do anything? Or is it a mutual respect? Hey, we want to spend time together because we got married for a reason.
That was beautifully explained.
Oh, thank you. I told you I talk a lot, so I wasn't sure.
Oh, I love it. That was so good. Like,
thank you.
Oh, trauma from past relationships came up. Woo! Oh.
Totally though. And that's what I call relational survival mode.
I love these terms that you have.
Relational
They're
survival
amazing.
mode.
A lot of people think good communication just means talking more. In real life, what does healthy communication actually look like across different types of relationships?
What a good question that no one talks about. People talk about communication all the time, and maybe this is why it gets so muddy because people aren't asking that question. And I'm not just saying that to be nice to you, respectfully. It sounds like it's just fluff, but it's one, I want to really explain that communication sounds different. If things you say sound different when, again, you're in relational survival mode versus something I haven't totally introduced yet, but connection mode. They are two different brain states. Like you were saying, breathing, meditation, all of that, that lives in connection mode. It is not happening in survival mode. The outcome of the conversation may end up being the same, but the energy behind it. So am I saying yes to someone just to appease them because of childhood trauma, by the way? Or am I saying yes because I mean yes? Because I'm in connection mode and my yes actually means yes. So communication, what mode am I in? And the downside, and this is probably why there isn't generalized information out there about it, is because everyone has different tells for themselves of which mode they're in. And not everyone always knows which mode they're in.
Oh my gosh, it sounds like getting in a car and you don't know how to drive a stick. Honestly, that's like what you just explained.
Yeah.
It happens every day.
Even it does. It does. That's
for your children. Like you gotta have good communication. Let's sit down and talk for an hour. It's like that's not all that it is.
No, and I love, oh my God, that analogy of the car is both
beautifully. Imagine myself in like.
Well, it's beautifully true and painful at the same time. That's why I'm having a weird visual reaction to it because, thank you, we would never expect someone to drive. I don't know if in Minnesota they're called highways or freeways, but we would never expect someone to drive a stick shift seamlessly on day one. And we do expect our children, thank you, to grow up and somehow know how to communicate with their spouse with never learning and no instruction.
100% accurate.
And I was literally just telling Gabe this the other day. The reason that there's actually, and I've read this in a few different books, there really actually is not a right way to teach kids to do things and to get kids to do things. And the reason there's no real right way, this was hard for my brain to process as well, is because you cannot predict what brain state your child is going to be in. Just like we cannot predict what brain state the adult is going to be in. I could think I'm going to Gabe with something very simplistic, non-threatening, whatever, and all of a sudden he flips on me.
Yep.
And so this is what I mean by relational survival mode. I sent him into survival mode. Now,
okay, that makes sense.
So the reason I bring this up too in this context is, like you said, with stick shift, we are not teaching children, even in biology classes, like survival mode versus connective mode. And again, this could be taught in biology class. This is human biology, that when you're here, you cannot connect with people. And when you're here, you can. Can I give you one little bit of brain science that hopefully will not be too in the
Of
weeds
course.
for the
I
listeners?
love it.
Your survival mode brain state, this part of your brain, it's not a part, it's a state, but it is scanning your environment and relationships 4 times a second, scanning to assess for safety. 4 times a second. I picture it like a little lighthouse. This brain state is scanning me to me. Am I hungry? Am I tired? Me to you, and me to the environment 4 times a second. That brain state is scanning 12 things a second.
That sounds exhausting.
Right? It's actually not that bad because we're doing it all the time. So our brains are doing it right now. It does get exhausting when your brain is in hyper overdrive. Like
Yes.
if you just realize that you've been in survival mode for longer than you had realized,
Yep.
it is exhausting if you're in it all the time. Yes. And why are we not learning that in school?
I have no idea.
Again, your
even heard of
analogy,
that.
right?
Ever.
Exactly. And your analogy of the stick shift cars, what got me thinking about, like, we're teaching driving in school. Why aren't we teaching this kind of relational stuff in school?
Absolutely. No, but I love that idea because I do think no matter what anyone's belief is, science and biology is so important to understand.
Yeah. Yes.
To better yourself.
Yes.
And that just makes you wonder about what you said about the brain.
Oh, yeah.
The lighthouse.
Exactly. That's what I mean. And so that is curiosity. So when you can get into curiosity, then you're in connected brain state. It's a whole different thing, and you pull yourself out of survival mode. So well done.
I do
And
that
in the
a lot.
moments,
Is that a good thing?
it is. In the
Good.
moments when he and I are like heated, like I remember we got into some tussle in the car. That's not a good word for it. It's not like we were physical, but I was annoyed with him. He was annoyed with me. And I literally took a time out in the car where I just looked out the window. And as I was looking out the window, I did think, I wonder what I just said that sent him into survival mode. Like, something just happened for him. Just getting curious takes you out of survival mode.
Okay, then I do
And
that a lot.
the curiosity is very beneficial.
Okay.
Yes.
I love this. I'm proud of myself. I didn't even know that was a thing. I really, really like that. What are small, realistic things people can do to strengthen relationships without feeling they need to fix everything at once?
You don't need to fix everything at once. I mean, let me just validate that for a second. Like,
Absolutely.
It's not like you need to save up all of your money and go on a cruise every year. Like, no. We don't need to be doing that. One, for real. I mean, this is just my own stuff, as I've already said, but like, start voicing appreciation. There's a word so one of the models that I've used historically is called relational life therapy. I just like to give credit because I'm going to use a word that is more Terry's. He created the model than mine, but cherishing. If we can keep the word cherishing on our forefront of our mind and be cherishing, like even as you just said, little ways. So something really simple. I literally was at the grocery store once. This was a few years ago, and saw some flowers, bought them, came home, put them on the table. And I said to Gabe, I've decided I really want flowers on the table at all times, which is going to get expensive, by the way. And he said to me, do you care about the smell? And I said, I don't think so. That seems like a really weird question, but no. Why? He said, what if these were not cheap, but what if I bought you some fake flower bouquets, or like made you some huge bouquets with fake flowers from out here? It's Michael's. I'm sure there's different craft stores all around the country, right? And I was like, that sounds like an awesome idea.
Oh, I love the communication between you two.
Again, I think I have my own insecurities about trying to look like everything is so perfect. Like, trust me, we get some stuff wrong, but we get some stuff really well. And he made me 4 different seasonal bouquets.
Yeah.
That I love. And I mean, we were talking about it recently, and he was chuckling that like he did meet my need. The need was, I want flowers on the table.
Yep.
And he will say, he was like, yeah, I didn't want to spend money at the grocery store every week or even at like a real florist. Like he didn't
Yep.
want to invest in that, which is why I say that as my example. Like you don't have to do big, grand gestures. It's what are some ways that I can show you that I cherish you? And maybe that's what I want to emphasize. It's not just the word cherishing. I like that you literally asked the question with the word small. And I want to give everyone permission to do that. That like anything small you can think of, not everything has to be big and overwhelming. And like tune into to you, focus inward a little bit and find things that aren't overwhelming. Not to mention, if a lot of stuff is overwhelming, you could talk to a therapist, like find out why are these things overwhelming to me?
Yeah.
Because another term I love is there's no such thing as an overreaction. We are simply reacting to something else. So if something is overwhelming, it likely stems from childhood.
Yes, I get that. I love that quote that you just said.
It's beautiful. And there are some therapists very similar. The concept is the same, similar statement. Some therapists say if it's hysterical, it's historical.
I've never heard that. I like yours better.
I do too. Well, so again, it's Terry Reels. It's not mine, but
I
don't.
like whoever told you that one.
Yeah. I just don't want to try and steal credit. I don't love the second one only because I don't want to label anything as hysterical. I don't mind labeling things as an overreaction, and most of my clients can own when they're having an overreaction. Like people know they're having an overreaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'll be getting mad about something, and I'm like, this is a really big reaction to this. What the heck is this about? Because it's not about this. And then sometimes if I talk enough, I can figure it out. Yeah, because I'm a talker.
Curiosity.
Yes, I do get curious a lot.
Is a positive. That's like curiosity is a good thing in this conversation.
Yeah.
And not to be afraid to be curious.
No, correct. Yes, please don't be afraid to be curious.
Because I think now I know that's something I am. I am very curious and I'm not afraid. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
People often hear the word boundaries and they think it means distance or shutting others out. From your experience, how do boundaries actually protect relationships, especially during like big transitions in life?
Yes. Well, so I guess my first question would be, what do you mean by big transitions?
Moving, argument,
okay,
baby or not, life altering decisions as for couples or friendships.
Yep. Okay. So my first wonderment, I made up that word, but I do use it a lot. I do think society may have gotten confused between boundaries and walls. Walls are very impenetrable. I don't have to listen to what you say. That's a wall. Don't let anything in. Boundaries allow for influence. So, like, if my daughter's yelling at me because I am too tired all the time to do things with her, a wall could be like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not. Or it's normal for people to be tired sometimes, any kind of defensiveness. Or again, it could be what I said first. Oh my gosh, no, I'm not. A boundary could be, I wonder what is her perspective? How is she seeing that? And I am tired sometimes. Am I tired all the time? No. Am I going to get semantical with my daughter and be like, I'm not tired all the time, I'm tired sometimes? Or am I going to go with the theme of what she's saying? So a boundary is, can I let in some of it? Can I let in as much as is true to me and not let in the rest of it? I'm not tired all the time. I am tired more than she wants me to be. That part is just true. 100% right. I did realize last night when she was screaming at me for it, but I did look at her and she was like, we never have time together. And I looked at her and I just kind of knew. I don't know how I knew. And I said, sweetheart, if I gave you 24 hours in the day, would it be enough time? And she gave me the sweetest answer on the planet. She said no. It was the sweetest. And she's 12. So I'm kind of impressed that she still likes me. But like, I could have, because what happened yesterday, she came home. She got her homework done, whatever. And we were doing some projects together on the computer. She was using Canva. We were doing this thing together for hours. And then She wanted to do something else. I want to say at 8:30. And I was like, no, really, it is bedtime now. And then she said, we never do anything together. Now I could have gotten defensive. Just spent 12 hours. We just spent the past 4 hours together. I did look at the clock and I was like, that's when it hit me. That's interesting. We did just spend 3 hours together. What is going on for her? And that's when I realized it was not enough time. And in her world, there's just never going to be enough time. But so again, a boundary allows influence in. How much of what you're saying can I let in enough to not get overwhelmed and triggered by it and defensive, but I can see some kernels of like, oh yeah, that's true to me. Okay. But a wall is, whoa, either I let everything in and now I get defensive, or I don't let anything in. So boundaries actually keep us closer to people. People think that boundaries make us too far apart, create too much space. They bring us closer to people because I'm allowing influence. So I'm staying close to you. And that's actually how they keep us protected from people, because I don't get overwhelmed by your perspective. How they keep us close to people is a boundary can help you listen with acceptance. Can I listen to your perspective without having to change your mind, which means I can stay close and connected to you? And again, people don't usually think about that piece of it, listening with acceptance. No part of me tried to change Amira's mind last night. That's my daughter's name. Listened with acceptance of this is where she's coming from right now. She simply wants more time with her mom. And there's going to come a time where she doesn't. So shouldn't I take advantage of that?
I got all emotional on that. That was beautifully said. And then also, I just love that your daughter wants to spend time with her mom.
So I mean, she gets mad at me sometimes and storms off and doesn't want to talk to me for 5 hours. But yesterday was a good day.
I love that.
So which part?
The part
Listen
where,
with acceptance?
yeah.
That's my friend Jules.
You have some really, really amazing, insightful friends.
Yes. Jules is another therapist. She's way more skilled than me. And so I've learned a lot from her. And that she even has a book on boundaries. So boundaries is her like real key area. And even the containment boundary that I talked about at the very beginning of our thing here, that's her exercise. She's very good with setting clear boundaries with people.
But Vickey, you're very good at spreading that message and
yes,
taking it to your own level. It may be her saying, but the way you said it was yours.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I love that. It was so powerful. You've seen people stay in relationships longer than they probably should, including friendships and partnership. What do you think people are most afraid of losing in those moments?
That is a really good question.
I only have one answer that I could think of.
I'm going to want to hear that. And my first, it's almost a cop-out answer, I'm not going to lie. My first answer would be that it is likely due to like childhood trauma of some sort, and it would be unique to each person. And I do think that's real. I also think it's a cop-out. I want to give you a real answer for your listeners. So I do want to give another easier answer, but it's very true that like it depends on the person. Afraid of losing. I mean, it could be as simple as like social standing. I'm kind of making like I don't know, but it could be the way people are looking at them. We're mammals. Mammals are a communal species, which means we do better in community. We are biologically wired to be in community. And loneliness is really hard. So some people stay in relationships for too long out of fear of loneliness. Togetherness. You do lose the togetherness in a breakup. Some people, again, due to childhood trauma, unfortunately, this one's a deep one, that people may be deriving not necessarily social standing or the way people look at them, but internal worth from the relationship. And so if I let this relationship go, what do I have? When the real true answer that most people don't believe is you have worth because you were born. The relationship does not add to your worth nor detract from your worth, but people don't typically believe that without coaching. So I think at the core, people are afraid of losing their worth.
Yeah. Like when I lose someone I love, even in friendships or a partner, and it's, the worst thing in the moment, I naturally sometimes think, why am I put here? And that is the self-worth part speaking that you just spoke of. I can identify that. It's not suicidal. It's not questioning my well-being. It is truly my worth. because why wasn't I worthy to keep this
Yes.
relationship?
Yeah. I have that one too.
When someone realizes a relationship is no longer healthy, how do they begin to let go without carrying shame or feeling that they failed?
There's a lot of work circulating in the world right now on self-compassion. And to quote another person, Kristen Neff has done tons of research on this, because what's happening specifically with like regret, or you didn't use that word, or like the shame, is we look back at our historical self, which is the self in that relationship. And then this is where like self-compassion comes in, because we tend to judge that person, that historical self, me, I will judge her harshly for X, Y, and Z. Why did you stay as long as you did? Or why didn't you see those flags? So and you know what? It's probably easier if I just use me as this is not my world, but rather than saying you and the general public and blah, 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 I'll just make it me. I'll look back at that historical Vickey of like, you should have known better, or you did this wrong. Or again, like you saw the red flags. Why did you ignore them? Or how did you not see the red flags? So one, self-compassion can help, of like looking back and having some compassion on that Vickey, that she had reasons for what she did. And then I will say, I think this answer can be two different layers. And I do think either a trusted friend or a therapist could help with the first one. The first layer, it really could be like an objective, not necessarily a checklist, but almost like looking back at the relationship superficially of like, what did I see that I ignored? What didn't I see? Were there obvious patterns? That's a very like superficial kind of conversation that can be beneficial. The deeper conversation, like I said, is to look back at that, Vickey. Okay, what was going on subconsciously? Why did you stay despite those red flags? Why did you stay despite that stuff? Or why didn't you see it? And those are different, deeper subconscious questions that you'd want a therapist for.
Yep.
Only because, by the way, yes, the curiosity.
There it
And
is.
when I say therapist, my hope for all therapists out there is part of what we got with our training is creative questions. Like I simply ask different questions with my clients than friends ask. I probe differently. I've also learned I'm not trained in something called somatic therapy. I'm not trained in it, but somatic therapy is a way to tap into sensations in our body differently.
Yep.
So thank you that you're even familiar with that, because it's
I
super
am
weird.
actually, my therapist does that.
It's
And
somatic, yes.
yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Just started it. She's new with me, but wow.
And I will validate that it is super weird and it does feel silly. It absolutely does. And so I got into a little bit of like the biology around that. That's why therapists can get into those kinds of details if they're trained in those ways.
I love that you were curious with that method that you're not officially trained in. Do you have any interest in that theory sometime down the road? Are you always open to keep learning? Because I think I know the answer.
Oh, yes. Oh, my goodness. Yes. So I will probably never get formally trained in somatic, only because I've had a somatic therapist whom I loved and got great work done with her. I think the extent that I'm familiar with it and use it in sessions is probably good enough.
Yep.
So I won't go
understand
into
that.
formally get trained in it. I like what, and you didn't ask this specifically, but the next training I'm going to that I just haven't found the right timing in my life for yet is on attachment theory.
Oh, cool.
That's what I'm trying to find the right training for, because I want specific knowledge. I actually am not someone that needs the knowledge of like what it means to be avoidant attached and these terms that are very therapeutic. I don't really care to label you which attachment you have. I just want to know how to treat it better.
I think
Like
that's
better than I do now.
I
So,
love that about
yes.
you. I love that you are still learning, and I love
Yeah.
that you know what you know.
Yeah.
And I love how you take the little pieces of your friends and the things you learn from books and you bring it into your own of unmess your mind.
Yes, and that's literally what I do is I pull all the different things and make examples, and
I
then
love
yes, so
the
thank
name
you.
now. It makes total sense. I love it. Vicky, after a relationship does end or changes, what does rebuilding trust in yourself look like?
The overlap is I can see how if you stayed in a bad relationship too long, and I am putting quotes because I don't know that I could see any relationship as bad, you could absolutely lose self-trust. Why would I trust me when I made these bad decisions that time? And growing self-trust is can be a lifelong task. Not lifelong. I don't want to make it sound too daunting. Building self-trust is actually like energizing. It's a different part of the brain. And it lives in the connected brain mode, the connected brain state that I was talking about. Because self-trust is when you start to finally know, oh, I'll be able to handle that. So it's not, ooh, I'm thinking, I tend to process as I talk. Self-trust is not, I'll be able to avoid it. I'll be able to see it coming next time and not do it. Self-trust is, I know I'll be able to deal with it when it happens. And you build self-trust. It's going to sound really redundant. That's why I'm laughing. By doing it. Like the more you do it, the more you realize, oh, I can do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I can do that. There's actually research. There's a book called The Power of Discord that I did read. I don't remember, but there's research that shows that trust is actually, so not necessarily self-trust, but trust in a romantic relationship, that trust is actually built through the fighting. That's what discord means. So so the couples that like, for whatever childhood trauma reasons, avoid fights, they never get to learn that they could get through it. If you just think about the logic of that.
I just thought of that and you're right.
If you're not doing it, you never learn that you can, which
Can I
is
say
likely
something
why.
inappropriate?
Yeah, oh, please.
Is that why I don't particularly agree with this statement? Is that why people say makeup sex is pretty good? If they're fighting and they get through it and they have makeup sex, is that lame? I don't know.
No, but you just brought up. So here's
I
my
don't know. I'm
theory.
sorry. I don't know if that was
No,
a
that was
statement.
good.
Okay.
Here's my theory. No, the look on my face was, is she onto something? That was the look on my face. It was
That was
not, oh
another
my God, what
puzzle
do I
moment.
do?
I was just like,
No, I think my theory would be, I think people are using the makeup sex to make up. So I don't think it's, we fought, we made up, ooh, trust is great, now let's have great sex.
good point.
So let me back it up. I would wonder, and I don't totally know this, but I might ask some people. I would wonder if the makeup sex is so great because the chemicals in the body are heightened, and that may contribute to sex.
Like the endorphins need to be healed.
Or no, because I don't think there could be endorphins going with the
Oh
fight,
yeah,
depending
because
on
they're
the person.
fighting. Yeah, you
Yeah,
need
no.
endorphins.
So it's the, like, I'm guessing it's something like adrenaline or cortisol, and those may heighten the feelings, literal feelings of the sex. Here's what I'm thinking. This is a weird analogy. Um, Years ago, early in our marriage, so maybe in like 17 years ago, like I think this was like 2 years in,
Mm-hmm.
we weren't in a fight at all, but I was definitely annoyed with him. I was annoyed with him. We were playing with cards of some sort, and he flicked a card and hit me in the nose.
Mm-hmm.
And it hurt. And it hurt bad. And I remember thinking, it shouldn't have hurt this bad.
Yep.
Like, I remember he was like, what are you, like, I was like, it hurt. And he's like, what are you talking about? I flicked a card at your face. Like, that couldn't have hurt. And I remember looking at him and I was like, this is super weird because you're right. And it shouldn't have hurt this bad, but it did hurt this bad. And I remember then, even then, my theory was, and I don't even know if I was a therapist yet, because I wanted to be, but I didn't. It wasn't right when we got married. My theory was, are there chemicals heightened in my body right now because I'm mad at you anyway, and those chemicals are having a reaction to the pain? So based on that, I'm wondering if that's why makeup sex is so great, because the chemicals are already there and they may heighten things. totally making that up, just so you know, all your listeners, I'm totally making that up, but I think I might be onto something.
I think you might be onto something too, because I'm thinking, because I know a paper cut hurts. And I'm like, did you get a paper cup on your nose? Did you get
It didn't cut it though.
No?
No, like, but it was the corner of the card, yes.
Look
But
at
like
us
it
putting
didn't cut it.
look at us putting
It
puzzles together. I love it. Look at you
exactly.
write your new book. I mean, a book you could write in like years. Like
Maybe.
why did the flick of the card hurt?
Right? Right?
From your perspective, Vicky, what does healthy love and connection look like after someone has been through a difficult relationship experience?
See, I think that might be a trick question because I don't think healthy love looks different at any time. It's always like healthy love is healthy love. And this is now the context for what I was going to say that was going to blow your mind. When I said I don't think that there's like a bad something, I think I said bad relationship. And by the way, I should backtrack because yes, domestic violence is absolutely a bad relationship. So there are bad relationships out there. I don't think anything the brain does is unhealthy. So I historically was saying that like I would label connective mode of the brain as healthy and protective mode of the brain as unhealthy. I did this years ago in my practice. And I finally realized one, again, nothing the brain does is unhealthy. Picture this. If you're walking across the street and a car turns right in front of you, like literally right.
Okay.
Turns right and it's in front of you and you jump back to the curb. That's protective mode.
Yeah,
there's nothing unhealthy about that. You needed to do that. It's a good thing that our brain does this. That was your brain scanning 4 times a second. Am I safe or not? And it caught it. I'm not safe here. I better get back to the curb.
Yep.
What happens to us in our relationships is that sometimes we go into protective mode when we wish we didn't. We go into protective mode when there really probably didn't need to be a reason. I'm going to give you a really good example of that. So that's why I say I don't think anything the brain does is unhealthy, because everything the brain does, it does for a reason. The reason may be subconscious. The reason may not make sense to us, doesn't make it unhealthy. So there's that. First, let me give you an example of what I mean by protective mode when we didn't need to be. True story. Until my husband, not only did I not cook with salt, I did not have salt in my house.
Okay.
When I was 7, maybe, my mom had high blood pressure, had to go off salt, took the whole house off salt with her. So I literally have never had salt. I have to buy low sodium foods because I have a heightened sensitivity. Like I cannot have salt.
Oh, so
I can.
It was a good thing, but it also caused this on you. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's super weird. But so when I cook dinner or scrambled eggs in the morning, he would always say, "Is there salt in this?" No, no, there's not, because I don't cook with salt. And there have been many reactions to, is there salt in this? There's been the, oh man, I forgot the salt again. There's been the, I had a client once who was the chef and he told me I'm not supposed to cook with salt because you're supposed to put the salt in yourself the way you want it. That is a true story, but you can also hear my attitude. I would hear his question, is there salt in this, as an attack. I go into survival mode. I teach my clients that story. They all laugh. And then in later sessions, I talk to my clients about, are you feeling salt attacked?
I love it.
Because I don't need to go into survival mode when my husband asks if I cook with salt.
It's so good. When you told me that story, I'm thinking like, what? You don't like my eggs?
There's been that reaction too.
Not good
enough? Trust me, in 19 years, he's heard all of the above. He's heard all of the above.
Wow. I love your terminology. These are great.
But that's what I mean about like nothing the brain does is unhealthy. So it could be seen as very unhealthy that I'm flipping out on my husband when he asked about salt. But it's just that I've gone into survival mode. And this is what I mean when I say subconscious reasons that all make sense. Yep. So again, we've been married for 19 years. I've been cooking for him for 19 years, whatever, probably even 20 years. When we were dating, I'm sure I cooked some dinners, whatever. It took me until about 2 years ago to really grasp, very, very buried subconsciously, why I have a reaction when he asks if I cooked with salt. And it's because I hear everything I do is wrong. But that voice was not loud for 17 years. That voice was very buried. Something happened. I don't even know what happened a couple of years ago when I was like, oh, that's why I get so upset when he asks. Because all I hear is I did something wrong. And I have a heightened sensitivity. I actually have not yet figured out what in my childhood gave me this sensitivity. I don't know, something did, but I have a heightened sensitivity to doing things wrong. So
very familiar to me too.
So that's what I mean by healthy versus not healthy in the brain.
Yes.
And so the real answer again is a healthy relationship is a healthy relationship, no matter what the history was. But I wonder if what you're really asking is, if I've had poor relationships, would I even recognize a healthy relationship?
Yes.
So yes. And that's a very powerful question, because I just realized some people can't even tolerate healthy relationships. Believe it or not, sometimes too much goodness is hard for people. I was doing a conversation with a friend like this on Zoom, and she was complimenting me. I can't now remember what she said, but I was like, oh, thank you, whatever. And I was fine. And then some time went by. She brought the topic back up and said something else nice. And I kid you not, I literally was like, okay, that was a little bit too much. And I don't know why. She was another therapist, so she and I like had a good chuckle out of it, and like, oh, that was a little bit too much niceness, and you set something off within me
Interesting.
that I couldn't. I mean, I literally did this on the screen. I was like, okay, Rebecca, like that was enough. Like you're laying it on too harsh. I mean, too much. It was not harshness, it was goodness. But so yes, and that would be a stuff to probe into with a therapist of like, what is going on that I can't, that like this relationship is going better, is going well. We have curiosity together. We're having healthier conversations. We're connecting. And for some reason, I don't like this. Like there would be childhood reasons for that.
Yeah, that was a powerful question.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's gonna be like unique to every person.
It is. Because I'm processing it when you said it.
Yeah. Because so many of us did not really have, and you know this by now, I don't love the word healthy, but we did not have, oh, I'm going to use a really simple word, good relationships modeled for us. So we are kind of winging it as we go.
Yeah, to be fair.
Um, and yeah, if we have a lot of, that's funny. I do like the word good. I'm going to go with that, but I'm still not going to go with bad for some relationships. As I said, other than domestic violence, which is literally a bad relationship. But other than that, because I see two wounded people trying their best. I don't know if you're old enough to remember the song, because I think of it all the time. There's a song that says like, I did my best, but I guess my best wasn't good enough. And that song is on my mind. I do love that song. And it's a thing. It's about a couple that like they can't make it work.
They can't make it work.
So there's one line is I did my best wasn't good enough, and then there's the whole thing, and then the next stanza is like I gave my all, but I think my all may have been too much. Like it's just like it's this guy, like we couldn't figure it out. In my survival mode, Gabe's good enough. Like I just said, I think that people are all wounded and trying their best. So I don't mean good enough. He's trying his best. In my survival mode brain state, his trying his best is not enough. And I'll have huge conversations in my head about like, nope, nope, and nope. It's not okay. I'm never going to divorce him, and I love him and I don't want to divorce him. But there are parts of me that like are just not going to tolerate this anymore. But in my connected brain state, that's where I can see how much everyone is trying. And I do believe that every person on the planet is trying their best. And the best isn't good enough for everybody around us. Like people date and they don't get married. Like it doesn't always line up. Yeah. But so it depends on what your gauge is. Like, what do you, and again, I think that's what you're looking for. So I would also say that childhood trauma, which can lead to not great relationships, maybe that's the best way to term them. Childhood trauma, which can lead to not great relationships, can also break your barometer. People don't know what to be looking for. What can you expect? I mean, there are people out there that I read this in a magazine once years ago. The girl was like, he asks how my day went.
Mm-hmm.
There was other bad stuff. It was like one of those like ask the guy columns.
Yeah.
So there was all this bad stuff. Not bad, again, not domestic violence, but like not great stuff. And then but he asked how my day went. And I remember the guy wrote back and he was like, um, any guy who cares about you at all is going to ask how your day went. If that's your like litmus test, you're aiming way too low.
Wow.
So I do wonder if like, yeah, you have a history of not great stuff. You're likely going to aim too low. It's okay to want more than just, he should ask more than just about my day.
Yeah.
But should I be expecting fresh flowers and a cruise every other month? Like people sometimes really don't know where the gauge is because no, to all the listeners, unless you're dating a billionaire, you're not getting a cruise every other month. Let's just validate that. Not gonna happen. I think that your best bet to actually answer the question would be, do you have people around you, even if it, are you lucky enough to have pretty decent parents? Not all of us are. Like, do you have anyone around you that you can bounce things off of, that you trust their gauge? Like even when I was single and couldn't get a guy to date me, I had friends that I could run things off of. Like,
yeah,
should I be expecting this? Should I be expecting this? And this was a long time ago, like 30 years ago, when it was way more the norm for a guy to pay. And I was casually dating someone, very casually,
mm-hmm.
and I was going to pay on the third date. And then but he asked me to pay on the third date and not in the most polite way possible.
Ugh.
I think he said something like, it wasn't I want to be taken care of tonight, but it was something like, I think I want to be treated to the movie or something. Like he made it clear. And one of my friends who was already married, still is, by the way, one of my friends, when I was just chatting with her and telling her, she goes, "Oh no, Vic, no, don't date him
I
anymore."
was turned off right away. I'm just gonna admit it. I was like,
Yeah.
you already were gonna do it. He didn't give you the chance.
He didn't give me the
And
chance.
what guy does that?
Yeah.
What individual does that on a date?
Good call too. Yes, good call. And like, and I did not. I didn't have a good barometer, and she did. She was like, "Nope, don't do that. Like, don't date him anymore." And I was like, and it fizzled by then anyway. It was probably one of the best dating relationships I'd ever had. There were no hurt feelings. It really did run its course after a couple of dates. We parted on great, like it was awesome, best experience ever. But I did not know that that was like a not great thing. My barometer was off.
Interesting. So trusting your gut. Does that come in play when it comes to healthy relationships?
I don't know.
Trusting your gut and how your body feels? Is that different?
Well, trusting your gut is probably part of how your body feels. I mean, I will say it might not come into play. And we'll just go again with the term of healthy relationships. We'll just go with it. Actually, no, I'm going to go back to good relationships, because if your barometer was severely broken in childhood, then you, and let's say you're listening. So I don't know if this is little like you asking, or if you're listening, you might know that your barometer is off. So you might know that you can't trust your gut.
Okay.
Like I know, I don't even have a gut instinct with parenting. I literally don't. I don't. And I've had many people say to me like, "Oh, trust your gut," or this. I'm like, I really can't. And we look back now, and it's no wonder I had to ask Gabe. I mean, microscopic things about the kid. Now trace it back to I have severe childhood trauma that I'm working through in therapy, absolutely. But trauma broke my barometer.
Okay, so the gut, I can see how now trusting your intuition / gut how could affect a broken
barometer. Yes. It's like what sets your heater. Because here's what else we know from research. Your brain and your heart and your gut are intricately connected. They have literally found brain cells in our heart and in our belly. I know she's written books and she's a therapist and she's a trainer. Her name is Bonnie Badenoch. She's in Oregon and she calls them your head brain, your heart brain, and your belly brain. So when the term trust your gut came from somewhere, it's because we have a brain in there. And I do think that many people can trust their gut. I don't happen to be one of them. But that doesn't mean everyone can't, right? Like that's why I'm trying to clarify so we can.
Yep. No, I'm one of those people. I love how you explained it, but also I just learned that not everyone has that. And don't put that pressure on someone when I'm having a conversation with someone I'm dating or my friendships. That is huge for me to just like learn. So thank you.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, you're welcome. Happy to help. Yes.
That's amazing. Words that you have really do have a powerful notion of how you do your job. And when I also read that you guest speak.
Yes, I have a couple of times. Yes.
That's amazing. You like doing that?
I do. I'm hoping to do more of it. So I'm working with someone to get like speaking gigs and stuff. To get into the corporate world. I do love doing it. I do think that more in-depth conversations of boundaries and self-worth, which we touched on a little bit, could drastically change our corporate world. So that's one of my professional goals, is to get into the speaking gigs to teach middle and upper management boundaries and self-worth stuff, because I think it's getting in the way of promoting within.
I love that.
Yeah, that's one of my projects.
What, any other projects coming up?
No, that's the big one.
I love it.
And continuing to build my practice. I am accepting new clients right now. So yes, just continuing to build my practice.
Okay, that's good to know. So are you licensed only in Massachusetts?
I am licensed only in Massachusetts, although I am in the process of also getting licensed in New York.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. That's good to know. And you're on Instagram, and you can see her handle right here. If you guys like what you heard from Vickey today, make sure to drop her a follow. Are you on any other social media?
I am. I have a YouTube channel that is also at Unmess Your Mind.
Perfect. And that handle you can see in bright letters right here. Here at Call Me Obsessed, we are always obsessed with things. Vickey, can you tell us anything in pop culture, anything in life? What are you currently obsessed with?
Oh my. Okay, so two things. The one, I'm obsessed with my nails. And they're from Color Street. So there's that. I do love my nails. And it's really funny you say that because I have my water bottle. This is both a historical obsession and a current obsession, which is Jason Priestley, Brandon Walsh from the TV show 90210, the original 90210. And it's just funny that it's not funny. Like I had it right here next to me when you said that. I am obsessed with Brandon Walsh.
I am obsessed with Dylan McKay.
Okay, so yes, okay. So and so the TV show and Brandon was my boyfriend.
Love it. Vickey, it has been such a joy to have you on Call Me Obsessed. I want to thank you for giving your time and meeting with me today. It has been such a pleasure, and I thank you again.
Oh, you're welcome. And it was a mutual pleasure. I don't think that's a term, so I'm just making up that term right now. But this was so much fun. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, I appreciate it, and hopefully we can have you back for another.
I would love to.
It would be amazing. All right, you guys, have a wonderful day.